Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. J, and welcome to our Intro to African American Studies course. This is our orientation video, which will give you a really good general sense of what to expect this semester. So let's get right into it and see what this course is all about. I'm first going to take us to our homepage on our Canvas module. If for some reason you're having some issue accessing the course, please contact me or contact the registrar's office just to make sure that you're good to go and the course is situated in your schedule appropriately. Once it is, you should see the course set up in Canvas. And if you're watching this video, that means that you're on the right track. So our homepage has some very general information for you. First and foremost, this is what's called a asynchronous course, which means there are no Zoom meeting times. But that does mean that there are some time stipulations within our course. For instance, each module will open up every Sunday night at midnight for that Monday morning, okay? And so week one will open on August the 11th at midnight for August 12th, which is our first day of class. This is a 18-week experience for this particular course. And of course, if you need to find me for any type of additional information, or if you want to even meet with me, I have a Zoom link here that will send you right to me. For the most part, my office hours are Monday through Friday, 12 to 2. And so if you need me within that time, shoot me an email, let me know, give me about 24 hours to respond to you, and we can set up an appointment, no problem, okay? So let's go ahead and get into our course modules. As I mentioned, you do have 18 weeks of course, 18 modules for an 18-week course. And we will begin with module one. So let's make sure this hyperlink works, which it should. And if it doesn't, then I'll take care of that, okay? So although I clicked on week one, and you see that it takes me right here to our course, I'm going to actually go back and start with our course syllabus since this is the orientation, okay? And so again, you're here at our Intro to African American Studies course. And this course particularly is all about the lives of African American people, okay? And so I want to just give you a very general brief description of our class based on the course description. We talk about the active and the indelible role, which means the invaluable, the most, the illustrious, the specific role that African Americans have taken in the United States of America. And we start that by understanding first how African Americans come into the United States during the colonial period, which at the time was just referred to as North America, or what the native indigenous tribes called this place. And then we go all the way up into the present, okay? And so we talk about quite a few things. We start in 1619, we talk about white supremacy, we talk about colonialism, we talk about religion, we talk about literature, we talk about political movements, we talk about so many different things because it's all about what is life like for African people. And then, of course, we definitely go into some things that is specific to California, specific to Los Angeles. I think at one point we get into the Watts Rebellion. And so this is a really cool course that hopefully gives you an opportunity to not explore just what's happening for African-American people throughout history, but at one point in our class, you're actually encouraged to get out into your community and engage with our community to get a further understanding of what life is like for African people, okay? And so we have quite a few learning objectives here. I'm not gonna read each one verbatim to you, but essentially take a look at them and know these are the intentional things that we want you to be gathering out of this course, okay? So as we are learning, one of the things that I want you to be able to do as a result of this class is to apply and describe critical events, histories, cultures, and intellectual traditions, and really be able to understand the contributions and the role that African people had in the development and the help of the building of the United States of America. And it's a very interesting story. Okay. Now, for those of you who need to find me, if you are outside of Canvas, you're welcome to email me as an alternative on my Clovis College email address. Okay. So in addition to the Zoom link being on our homepage, I also have more detailed information for our Zoom link here on this page. And I provide that because some of our students are traveling all over the world, and I have no idea what all you all might need in order to connect with me. And so I realize that, and so I give you not only a hyperlink to our Zoom meeting, but I also give you a dial by your location option as well. Okay. And if for some reason you're having any issues trying to contact me, again, please feel free to use my Clovis email. But let's go over some general course policies. The first thing I want to bring to your attention is classroom decorum. What does that mean? It means how are you going to act in this class? And believe it or not, because it's an online environment, we still have to have decorum policies. Because at the end of the day, I don't want people to be weird. Okay, I don't want you to be mean. I don't want you to be rude. I don't want you to use abusive or disruptive or disrespectful language when you're especially participating in the weekly discussions. Okay, this is very essential because we're living in a society now where people tend to disagree and then they get personal when they disagree. And that's not necessary. And to be honest with you, in the academic space, that's not necessarily welcomed either. We can disagree without personally having problems. And so I want to bring that to your attention and make sure that you hold yourself accountable as you're engaging with your classmates on our course discussions and as we engage as a class, okay? Now, let's talk about the attendance policies. For this particular class, because it's an asynchronous course, you are marking your attendance by first participating in our Module 1 discussion. Now, what I literally do is mark your attendance by participating. And if you don't participate, I will contact you to make sure that you're aware by not participating, you run the risk of being dropped by the class, dropped on the course, okay? But if you participate in week one's module, then you'll be able to secure your spot in the class, all right? And from there, you're good to go. But please be mindful that you have to participate in the first module in order to be able to stay within the course, okay? Now, for some reason, you might have an issue, or for some reason, something comes up and you're like, Dr. J, I really cannot participate in this week one module. You need to let me know that as soon as possible, but it'll be my responsibility to talk to you first. And my request is that you just make sure you respond and let me know what's going on with you if you do not want to be dropped from the class. Now, our late policy is very important because once you've completed your attendance with Module 1's discussion, all your work from that point on will be accepted up until the last date of class, which is December 13th, 2024. Okay. Now, the reason why this is important, and that date might change depending on when you're watching this video, but the last day of class is when I will take your course work. Okay. Now, this is important because there are due dates for our course. And although I'll take your work up into the last date of class, you will be penalized 10% of your grade if you do not submit your work on time. So for instance, essay number 1 might be due on September 1st, and you don't turn it in until December 1st. Now, although I'll accept your work, that score is automatically going to be deducted by 10%. And depending on how whatever the course assignment is allocated, whatever that number is, I'll take 10% of that and I will automatically deduct your grade, okay? So I'll take your work, but it will be penalized if it's late. And for those of you who turn your work in on time, obviously you won't risk that problem. All right, rules of conduct, again, please be mindful, no cheating on your exams, which, these are open exams, meaning you can use the module readings to help you do the exams. So you don't necessarily have to cheat. Also plagiarism, and I want to bring this to your attention. We do have AI software now that will flag your coursework if your written work has been generated with artificial intelligence. And so although that is not technically a form of plagiarism, it is something that you will be penalized for. A lot of times I'll deduct points and I will let you know, hey, although I appreciate your work has been flagged with you using artificial intelligence to be able to create your essay. And we do not honor that, at least not in my course. Be a human being, do your own work. If you want to get inspiration from AI, I do encourage you to use it in that way, but don't let AI write your work, okay? Because when you submit it, the software within Canvas now will flag it, and you just don't want to have that problem. But if you need to kind of run something through an AI software to kind of get an idea about what you want to say or what structure you might want to formulate your ideas in, you're welcome to do that as a point of reference. But I wouldn't then go take the results of that AI search and then turn that in for your exam. Okay, so just be mindful of that as you're moving through our course. Now, there are accommodations that are available for any students who may need them. And please note what the Clovis College email address is for those of you who feel like you might need some accommodations. And for those of us who are on an asynchronous class, this is very important because I want to make sure that you are successful. And so if there's something that I can do as an online platform to make this platform more conducive for you, then please let me know and then contact the office so that we can make sure that we get you the support that you need. Now, communication, although this is an online environment, I'm definitely here to help. And I want to be able to support you all in whatever it is that you need, but I need time to respond to you. So because I've realized that in real time, I'm not always able to respond to your emails immediately. Realistically, I need about 24 to 36 hours, and that's a very realistic window. A lot of times I'm going to respond prior to that, but up into 24 and 36 hours. Now, if you don't hear from me by then I might be traveling, I might be doing something, and you're welcome to email me on my campus email address and say, hey, Dr. J, I emailed you a couple of days on campus and I haven't heard anything, but this is my concern, okay? But 24 to 36 hours, I usually will be able to respond to you with no problem. The second, not the second thing, but the next thing that I want to bring to your attention is very important because when you're submitting your assignments, you cannot email me your work. Why is this important? Because it keeps me and you accountable when you are able to turn your work in the appropriate Canvas assignment, okay? Now, because our course is designed in a way for you to be successful, every single assignment is opened all the way up until the end of our course together, all right? And so you don't have to ask me for an extension. You don't have to worry about being able to upload your work, okay? Once the module is opened, it will remain open and the assignment will remain open until we are finished our course together. So please be mindful if you're having issues with the computer glitching out, if you're having issues with your files uploading properly, then you might need to seek some support, perhaps from our library, perhaps from some of your classmates, if you're able to reach out to them on our chat here on Canvas. But you need to turn your assignments in within the appropriate Canvas assignment portal. That's very crucial. If you do not, I cannot guarantee that you'll be able to, I more than likely will not be able to accept your work in any other format, okay? And if for some reason you have some very intense situation that's preventing you from being able to do that, just please reach out to me and let me know. Now, the good thing about our class is that, again, it's designed to support you. And so we definitely have extra credit. Who doesn't love a good extra credit? But our extra credit is in the form of our weekly discussions. And I do this very specifically because for the course and for you to meet our objectives and the learning outcomes, I want to make sure that you are completing our assignments. That is the priority. But I also want you to kind of build community in a very free and very organic space and not feel a pressure or obligation to build community with your classmates. And so the discussions is that space. And for many of us, we need a little extra credit. We love a little extra credit. And so for every discussion that you participate in, you are able to earn about a point of extra credit, okay? And so check out the discussion comments, check out the prompts that we are presented with, make a comment, get an extra credit point, okay? And so again, if you need any kind of referrals for your learning skills or any online tutoring, I give the information here, a number here, and give the information here for you to be able to reach out for them as well. Please be mindful. Again, everybody has the right to say what they believe, whatever their political views are, whatever their personal views are. Just be mindful of our classroom decorum policy. Keep it cool. You don't have to be disrespectful to people in order to disagree with people, okay? Now, as we go into the course, I want to bring you to the good stuff. How are you going to be graded, and what are your assignments going to be? And so for this course, we have quite a few things that we get to explore. The first thing that we have are essays. You're going to write a total of 4 essays for the class. Each one of these essays is about 2 pages long, and I'll go into them a little further in just a second. You'll have 2 exams, roughly about a midterm exam in about October, or about mid-semester, and then you'll have another exam towards the end of the course, okay? And then we have video reflection quizzes. And what are those? Basically, you're gonna put up a little video. I've had students do these things on TikTok. I've had these students do these things on Adobe Spark. And so there's a way for you to really, really get creative, but you're gonna basically give me a video. And instead of you having a written test, I want you to have an oral examination. And so you're going to talk to me. You're going to talk me through your responses to quiz questions through a video. All right. And then you'll have a one big final oral interview final paper. And essentially, you're going to interview someone who is African American or identifies as African American or is a person of color. And you're going to ask them about their experience living in America. And you're going to kind of get into some more details as we get into the course, and I'll give you more description of it. But you're really going to get a good sense. It's almost like you creating living history. So after taking this course, after seeing what life is like for African people, then I want you to actually see, are things the same? Are things different? What do African people feel like now? And really what it does is it gives us the opportunity to capture real history and get primary source information from folks, okay? And so for those of you who might have challenges with your community of people, if you are having issues with finding folks to interview, I want you and I want to push you to be as creative as possible. You can find people of color in church spaces. You can find people of color in all types of spaces. It may not necessarily be your immediate circle, but you might want to go to businesses. You might want to go to some nonprofit organizations in your community. You might even want to go into some local politicians because obviously we live in a world that's very diverse. And so you are pushed to be creative. Even making a post on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, hey, I'm looking for someone to interview, and asking people online and then having people respond to you. The point is that you have to capture the data. You have to do the research. And I really want to encourage you because for many of my students, it's been a really, really amazing experience. And so I want you to be able to value what it's like for people to be living history, okay? And then the last thing we do for our course, believe it or not, is we take a field trip. And for many of you who are in Fresno, California, I have a African-American museum that is located in Fresno and is open their doors to many of our students. And so you're first encouraged to go to the museum, check it out, take a picture of yourself in the front, or somewhere within the museum, show proof of attendance, and then you are able to get credit for the assignment. For those of you who are not able to physically be at the museum, I've also allowed students to take alternative trips, meaning, let's say you're in another city, you're in another country even, and there is some local African-centered space that you can go into to examine, then you're welcome to do that. Also, I have virtual options, but my goal of the virtual options, and let me say this now, the virtual options only given under unique circumstances, okay? So the goal is for you to get out and get into your community, no matter where your community is. So we can work together and to be as creative as possible in locating a space that is conducive for you. And I really appreciate when some of our students not only go, but they bring friends or they bring family, and it becomes definitely an adventure for everybody, okay? And so with all of these assignments together throughout our 18-week experience, you'll have a total of 100 points. And we do follow a very traditional scale of our grading, okay? Now, as I mentioned to you before, you'll have about 4 essays. Please note the different dates that the essays are due. And you have roughly about 2 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November, all right? Not a big to-do, not a big to-do at all. And many of these essays are going to be just 2 pages, okay? 2 pages. Make sure you give me a quality thesis statement. Make sure you have a 5-paragraph format, and make sure you have resources at the end of your essay. As I mentioned to you before, we also will have exams, okay? Now, our exams are multiple choice, true or false, a combination of things. Please take your time to take the exam. You will have 2 attempts, and I will keep the highest score of your best work, all right? As I mentioned to you before, our oral history final paper is very crucial. You're welcome to use people, again, that are, if you cannot find people who identify as African or African American, you are very much encouraged to interview any other person of color, and that can include Latino folks, that can include biracial folks, that can include people who are of different nationalities, just non-white people, okay? And please note that that assignment is due towards the end of our class. And then the field trip assignment, again, here is the Cultural History Museum that I am encouraging everybody to go to. I also put in a phone number for you, just in case you need to call ahead and make sure that the museum is open and good to go. The last time I talked to them, they were fine, they were good, and they were actually anticipating having you guys come, okay? Now, let's talk about the video reflection quizzes. The video reflection quizzes are really cool, but you're gonna use about 2 to 3 minutes to answer the questions, okay? And then once you create your video, you're gonna post that video into Canvas. Now, here's the thing, you can record yourself on Canvas. You do not have to go to a third-party software like TikTok or Adobe Spark or something like that, okay? And so I give you some instructions on how to do your video directly on Canvas, all right? So please make a note of that. And I also have a really cool YouTube link that'll walk you through how to do that, all right? And please note that you have some due dates for your video reflections as well. You'll have one of your first ones will be in August, which is our first month of school, and then you'll have one in September, 2 in October, and again, one in November. And so hopefully this gives you a really good general sense of what I'm expecting. I do want to make mention that when you're turning in your oral interview final paper, you're not necessarily going to give me the recording of your interview if you are able to record it. You're just going to turn in the actual final paper, which is a summary of your recording, okay? And so just make a note of that. A lot of students ask me, hey, Dr. J, do I actually have to give you the transcript of my interview? And no, that's not necessary. I just want to see the final paper. I want to see the written history now made into the written word, okay? Now, what do we need for this class outside of being able to access Canvas? For the most part, everything that we have is already online. There are no textbooks associated with this class that I use. I like to be able to give everything within the course module so that it's super easy for you guys to follow, okay? And for those of you, let's say, for instance, you're having issues with your Canvas, I definitely want to bring this to your attention. There is a tech support hotline, a help desk hotline, and if you need somebody, please reach out and let somebody know, hey, my Canvas is glitching out, something's wrong. Every time I try to upload something, I'm getting an error message, so forth and so on. So please take advantage of the hotline information because you never know, you might need it throughout the course, okay? And then finally, I give you an actual full, concise document of our syllabus. And you're welcome to print this out if you need, but it essentially is a collaboration of all the things that I've just reviewed all on one document. And so you're very much encouraged to print this out. I know I tend to be one of those people that still like to have things in my hands and be able to really read them. But everything that we've pretty much talked about in this module so far in this orientation is just now consolidated into this particular syllabus, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, that would be the end of our orientation. And again, as I mentioned, you'll jump right into week 1, right at the midnight hour of August 11, okay, for this particular course, or if depending on what semester you're in, the very first day of class, the module will be live the night before that at midnight, okay? So please make a note of what you will need to do to be successful in this class. I really look forward to meeting all of you. You know, I get to meet you when you are participating in the weekly discussions and also when you do your video reflections, because I finally get to put a face to a name. So I look forward to seeing all of you guys' work. Again, my name is Dr. J, and welcome to Intro to African American Studies. All right, love you, bye. Take good care of yourself.